Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabai.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufa.
Yes,
we'll start the review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. Starting from the window story above the masthead. $10 doles out 750 million naira to 750 Augustine University students. Donates 140 million naira for furnishing of schools, engineering faculty complex. Another 110 million naira for street lights of the entire campus, generating set installed as university's university's chancellor. Yes, Femi Otedola, billionaire businessman, taking philanthropy to a very high level. Yes, the chairman of Geregu Power Plant, who is also a director of First Bank PLC, First Bank Holdings PLC. Yesterday was installed as the chancellor of the Augustine University owned by the Catholic Diocese of Lagos, and of course located in his hometown of Ekpe, somewhere in Ekpe. And yesterday, of course, 750 million donated to 750 returning and fresh students to cater for their fees for the 2023-2024 academic session. This is in addition to, of course, the 2 billion he pledged for the construction of the engineering faculty building some time ago. So Femi Otedola doing so much in terms of philanthropy, but of course the position of chancellor of that university looks good on him. I'm sure many universities will want to have him as their chancellor. Now, the other story just below the masthead, federal government moves to securitize NLNG dividends for $7 billion cash to utilize proceeds to settle backlog of FX forwards, flood market with dollars. FX speculators may suffer losses. I think FX speculators, they must have been hearing this threat of flooding the market. But a consortium of, according to a top official of the federal government, who disclosed this to this day, the government expects to get $7 billion from a consortium of banks led by Standard Chartered Bank from next week. And the federal government, of course, also expects inflows from that $3 billion emergency loan from the Afri-Exim Bank. So hopefully when these inflows come in, as the government has promised, we'll see perhaps how it will affect the Naira and the foreign exchange market. Now, the lead story, Supreme Court, Tinubu's election as president is hereby affirmed. Yes, it's hereby affirmed. President, it's time to build Nigeria together, pledges to exceed people's expectation in service delivery, good governance. PDP, LP, react. Yes, of course, let's see how other newspapers are reporting this story. The verdict of the Supreme Court on the presidential election and bringing closure to everything about the 2023 presidential election. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Tinubu laughs last as Supreme Court affirms victory. The quote there, facts and documents which were not pleaded in the petition have no place in deciding the dispute between the parties. It is my view that there is no merit in this appeal, and it is hereby dismissed. Justice Iyang Okoro who read the lead judgment yesterday. And of course, the Supreme Court also decided not to use harsh words on some of the lawyers, that of former VP Atiku, the presidential candidate of PDP. But this morning, they've gotten some tongue lashing from a senior lawyer on this program. Now, the other story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, amid prohibition laws, domestic sexual violence thrive nationwide. 70 to 80% of victims are under 15 years. The Guardian newspaper put it up there. 90% abused by people they know. At least 1 in 10 married women has been the victim of domestic violence. About 3 in 10 know someone who has been a victim of domestic abuse. Well, the reported cases of domestic abuse still widespread in the country despite laws. A state like Lagos has come down very hard with very tough laws and speedy prosecution of cases in that regard. I just hope other states will follow and the police will take such cases to court speedily. Now, the Punch newspaper, of course, the lead story, Tinubu triumphs after 171-day battle. Nigeria present wish list to president after Supreme Court victory. Judgment shocking, dash Nigeria's expectations. Say PDP, Labour Party. Yes, the law has taken its course, and the final verdict we now have. Well, PDP, LP may not be satisfied, but they will just have to wait for another 4 years to stake their claim to become their candidate, whoever their candidate may be at that time, to become the president of Nigeria. For now, kudos, congratulations to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He savored that victory yesterday. In fact, he told some of his aides, your job is secured, not only my own. Yours is, because if I had been sent packing, of course, you too, you will not have a job. That's the implication, what he was telling them. Your job is secured. Now, of course, a number of issues dealt with by the judgment, particularly the 25% vote of Abuja. Not a super state. The Supreme Court only adopted the robust presentation of the Court of Appeal sitting as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on that issue. And now we know better that Abuja is not a magic wand that anybody can use to win election. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, presidential poll, Supreme Court affirms Tinubu's victory. Insecurity. Soldiers arrest terrorists, arms suppliers recover weapons in Kaduna. Now, if we look at the foreign newspapers quickly, now the foreign newspapers, the Times of London, 200 Britons trapped in Gaza plead for help. Sunak promises to do anything we can as border force sends officials to Egypt. The Daily Telegraph newspaper of UK, Putin welcomes Hamas to Moscow. West warns of axis of terror as Iranian and Hamas officials hold talks with Russian army. Now, the Washington Post, all-out hunt for gunman in Maine. 18 killed in year's deadliest attack. U.S. and gun violence, this time in Maine. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
All right. I'd like to talk about this story. FG moves to securitize NLNG dividends for 7 billion cash. So this brings me to asking questions. That if we securitize our proceeds from about probably one of the only sectors of revenue that works in this country, that's NLNG, because of the transparency at which it's run, and we securitize the future proceeds from NLNG. So when are we going to get money to run our country? Are we going to be borrowing more? They said here in this story that they had about 7 billion coming in, another 3 billion from Afrexim Bank, and also they're securitizing this prospects as regards to NLNG, and that they hope that it's going to at least reduce the heat on the naira and push it back to 800 naira. So I would like to ask the finance minister, what is he saying? This was the same finance minister that said that he thinks the naira has a fair value of 700
700, yes, he says.
But now he's saying, oh, if they can push it to 800 naira. So is it that they've admitted they are fighting a losing battle against the naira?
Reality check, not that they are fighting a...
Or reality check. Because if you say the fair value was 700, now you are saying probably we could get around 800. What are we to believe here? Also, another question will be, when this injection finally satisfies or cures out the hitherto encumbrances we have, what happens next? We're playing a squid game. We need to get real.
Supporters of President Tinubu can celebrate, but we should focus on governance. Now is the time for governance. There are issues, as I said previously, before you joined us, within the economy. The Naira is misbehaving. There are fears about, the immediate future. So I think people should focus more, not just on triumphalism, getting carried away with the celebration. We should all sit down and work, okay? Tompolo must have spent quite a tidy sum there. Just to remark upon that. Okay. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel.